She walked into the emergency room, her clothes drenched from the relentless rain, yet her hands remained steady amidst the chaos. On the operating table lay the world's richest man, his face ghostly pale, while doctors scrambled around him, their panic evident. "There's nothing we can do," one of them whispered, voice laced with helplessness. But she saw something they did not. With one precise move, she took control. Seconds later, the rhythmic beeping of the monitor signaled life. The room fell silent, eyes darting toward her in disbelief. Who was this mysterious girl, and how had she just performed the impossible? Years before that moment, Evelyn Carter was just a poor girl from a forgotten town, mocked for daring to dream too big. No one believed in her, not even her own family. They laughed when she declared she would one day become a doctor. "People like us don't make it out," they told her. "You'll end up just like your mother." But Evelyn refused to listen. Her mother had died when she was only 10, collapsing in their tiny, one-room home. There was no hospital nearby, no doctor willing to come for free. Evelyn had watched, helpless, as the life drained from her mother's eyes, her small hands gripping her mother's arm, begging her to wake up. That moment haunted her every single day. She worked harder than anyone at school, staying late to study under streetlights when their electricity was cut. She read old medical books she found in a junk shop, memorizing every page. While other kids played, she shadowed the town's only doctor, offering to clean his office just for a chance to learn. People called her obsessed. Maybe she was. But she had a mission. She would never watch someone die in front of her again. When she earned a scholarship to a top medical school, she left everything behind. The city was overwhelming, skyscrapers, fast cars, people who had never struggled a day in their lives. She was different. While her classmates partied, she studied, dissecting every case, solving medical mysteries before her professors could. She had a gift, but talent was not enough. No matter how brilliant she was always the girl from nowhere. She worked twice as hard to prove herself, but the elite world of medicine was unforgiving. She barely slept, running on coffee and sheer determination. The pressure crushed others. She thrived in it. Then, one night, everything changed. A frantic call from the hospital. An emergency. A billionaire had collapsed, his bodyguards screaming for help. The best doctors in the world were already there, but none of them could figure out what was killing him. His pulse was fading. They were out of time. Evelyn wasn't supposed to be in that room. She was still a junior, not even allowed near such a case. But fate had other plans. Standing at the doorway, her heart pounded. She had only been passing by when she heard the panic inside. The world's richest man, Alexander Grayson, was dying, surrounded by the best doctors in the country, yet no one could save him. She could have walked away. She should have, but something inside her refused. She stepped forward, her eyes scanning the monitors, the desperate faces of the doctors. "Who is she?" one of them snapped, annoyed by her presence. A nurse moved to push her back, but Evelyn spoke first. "His pupils are dilated unevenly," she said, her voice unwavering. "And look at his hands. He isn't having a heart attack. This is not cardiac failure." The lead doctor turned to her, eyes narrowing. "Then what is it?" Evelyn took a deep breath. She had seen this once before, back in her small town, when a construction worker had collapsed the same way. Everyone had thought it was a heart attack then, too. But it had been something else entirely. Something rare, something deadly if misdiagnosed. "Internal carotid artery dissection," she said. The room fell silent. A scoffing laugh broke the stillness. "Ridiculous," one of the senior doctors muttered. "That is incredibly rare." "But it fits," another voice chimed in, a younger doctor flipping through the billionaire's records. He had complained of neck pain earlier today, and he was on a flight this morning. Could have been triggered by pressure changes. Evelyn didn't wait for approval. She moved swiftly to the crash cart, grabbing a syringe. "We need to administer heparin now," she said. "If we don't, he is minutes away from a fatal stroke." The lead doctor hesitated. Giving the wrong medication now could kill the patient even faster. But Evelyn's confidence did not waver. "Trust me," she said. There was no time for debate. Grayson's vitals were crashing. If she was wrong, it would be over. If she was right, she would save the most powerful man on the planet with a single move. A beat of silence. "Do it," the lead doctor ordered. Evelyn injected the heparin and stepped back, the room holding its collective breath. The machines beeped wildly, then stabilized. A pulse. The man's breathing evened out. A ripple of shock spread through the room. She had done it. The lead doctor turned to her, his expression unreadable. "Who are you?" Evelyn swallowed. "Just a girl who refused to give up." Before anyone could react further, the hospital doors burst open. Two men in dark suits entered, their movements swift, expressions unreadable. "You," one of them said, pointing at Evelyn. "Come with us." She barely had time to protest before she was ushered out of the emergency room. Was she in trouble? Had she broken some unspoken rule? She was led through a series of hallways until they reached a private waiting area. The silence was suffocating. Then the door opened. A woman in a navy blue suit entered, tall, composed, exuding power, Grayson's personal assistant. "Dr. Carter," the woman said, taking a seat across from her. "Mr. Grayson is alive because of you. That is not something we take lightly." Evelyn remained quiet, unsure if this was praise or a warning. The woman continued. "You saw something no one else did. You acted when others hesitated. That kind of skill is rare, and it does not go unnoticed." Evelyn shifted in her seat. "I just did what needed to be done." A small smile crossed the woman's lips. "That is exactly what Mr. Grayson wants in his personal medical team." Evelyn's breath caught. She had spent years being ignored, overlooked, forced to fight for every opportunity. And now, in the span of minutes, she was being offered something she never imagined. An invitation into a world of power, wealth, and influence. "You're offering me a job?" she asked carefully. "Not just a job," the assistant said. "A position few ever get to hold. You would be Mr. Grayson's direct medical consultant. His health is worth billions, and we only trust the best." Evelyn hesitated. This was everything she had worked for, but then she remembered her mother. She had not become a doctor for money. She had done it for people like her mother, people who had no one to save them. She took a deep breath. "I am honored," she said carefully, "but I cannot accept." Silence filled the room. Then, unexpectedly, Alexander Grayson smiled. "That is exactly why I want to help you." And just like that, Evelyn Carter's life changed forever.